Welcome back. Welcome back. I know the finals are still going on. However, for the rest of the guys out there that their teams aren't in, you want to get caught up on the action. What's the rumors going around in the league? We're going to go through one possible trade target for every NBA team. Some are like a little extreme. Some are pretty just mild moves because teams they're so good they don't really need to make these moves. But we're going to go into it. It's an article from Bleacher Report. So these are not our trades. These are not the targets. We're just going to go through them and give our thoughts on them quickly, depending on the team. But starting off, we got the Atlanta Hawks trading for Dyson Daniels. I think that's probably a really good move for them just because I know they have a similar player in DeAndre Hunter, but for me, it's just one of those guys that's not really getting a ton of burn on a New Orleans team that can use some extra guard play in like a DeJounte Murray or someone like that, or Trae Young, who's ever on the trade block for them, if there is anyone. But he's just one of those guys that I think could make an impact. He's a solid three-point shooter overall. He's not great, but he's solid. Really good defense player and can attack the hoop and is a good athlete. He's still young. I think that's the direction this Hawks team is going toward with the number one pick. You're going to probably get Alex Sarr. So you got younger and you also get a pretty decent young piece.
I don't know. It depends if you're looking for a win now or for a future move. It doesn't sound bad for the future. I don't know what's going to happen over there with their core. There's rumors of Trae dipping, rumors of DeJounte dipping. So we're going to have to see how that one pans out. But, I mean, you touched on all the points with him. He's a solid piece.
Yeah, no, he's just one of those guys that can kind of fill a role. And if you can get DeAndre Hunter out of there somehow, or his contract's up after next year, I think. So his contract's pretty crazy for what he's giving you. So if you can get a Dyson Daniels still on a rookie deal for another year or two without getting a ton of burn, maybe you even sign him to an extension early, you can go and get him for way cheaper than you got a DeAndre Hunter, who when you made that conference finals run made a big impact. But moving on to the Boston Celtics, not going to really touch on this one because I don't know how much burn he would really get. But Santi Aldama, Loyola guy, shout out Loyola. One of my boys went to school there, just grad. But just another way to get some 3-and-D guys that are bigger that they need. Like I thought the Xavier Tillman signing was a pretty solid one to give them more size inside, but just not enough of what they want to do. Joe Mazzulla wants to shoot threes. So this guy can stretch the floor and can also attack a little bit off the dribble for his size. And I think it would be a solid move. I don't know if the Grizzlies would trade him, to be honest, though.
I don't know what they'd be coughing up for him anyway. They already have a lot of guys that can stretch the floor and fill that role. I understand where you're coming from. This is from an article?
Yes.
Bleacher Report. Rare miss on that one. I don't know. That doesn't seem like the role they need to fill. I'm going to wait till the series is over and I'll give my opinion on the Celtics rebuild video.
Yeah, I mean, like, still, the fact that they got Drew Holiday and Porzingis without giving up a first-round pick, I believe, is still remarkable to me. So maybe it was one, but even so, still insane. So
Brad Stevens sprayed the other GM with the secret that he missed.
For Finn's Brooklyn Nets, we got DeJounte Murray. I actually don't hate this a lot because it depends. The Nets are in a position where they can really go two directions. It's either you try and push for a playoff spot and get to, I don't want to say the Pacers because I feel like they were kind of a fluky conference finals team. But like, I think if you get a DeJounte Murray and don't have to give up major assets for it, you would be able to push into the deep play and around the Miami level of regular season stats and get into that 7-8 range. Because I think the Pacers, no offense, Pacers fans, are probably going to fall off a little bit, but that's just the conference finals run was way better than what you could have expected to begin with. And you guys were really competitive in that sweep, as crazy as that sounds, as an oxymoron. But what are your thoughts on getting DeJounte Murray? Because you need a guard.
I'm looking for a Hawk, but it's not DeJounte Murray. I'm looking for Trae Young. I think he fits our mold a lot better. He wants to be in New York, regardless of what he says or what anyone says. I just simply know it's true. I think he'd be great with a wing like Mikal. We have great defensive wings. Ben Simmons obviously up in the air. I'm not even going to comment on his ass, but like we need a guy who can just go score 30 every night. That's not DeJounte Murray, in my personal opinion. I think DeJounte is a solid player, and I think he has upside that's not able to be shown on this Hawks team. But I don't want him in the black and white, and I don't want him protecting the shield. I would welcome Paul George. I'd welcome Trae Young along those lines. That's probably it for me. I don't want to stunt CT's growth.
I'll give you another name. Darius Garland is also rumored in this because you guys need a point.
I don't trust him anywhere as much as I trust Trae Young. I think Darius Garland, there's an argument that he's a better player, but like if I want to go on a deep playoff run next year with the current roster we have constructed, I think Trae Young takes us deeper than Darius does. So again, I'm cool to rebuild. If that's the direction we're going to take, then we need a young wing, like a young 3 besides McHale who can fill it up. So I don't hate DG. Like I would much rather DeJounte Murray. I'm honestly really off on. I don't want any part of that, but
yeah. Next one for Hornets fans. There's not really. I mean, it's Lindy Waters III. I honestly don't even know.
Who that is.
Stu me. Apparently he can shoot, and he's just literally a 3-point shooter. So I mean, Charlotte, you need to figure out a lot of things. Build around LaMelo and Brandon Miller. Honestly, just stay healthy, and you guys got a shot. But I don't even.
Get LaMelo off the fucking roof, shirtless go-kart, and get him in the fucking gym.
Next one for the Bulls. They have Leonard Miller. I don't know who that is. But to me, I don't know if they're going to re-sign DeMar DeRozan. They probably will because they're dumb. But if they don't, like, you should honestly just trade Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and get assets back and build around like Kobe White. And
we'll take Zach LaVine.
But this move doesn't move me. This team is going to be in the lottery for years to come if they don't get rid of this core. And they just need to commit to the rebuild. They just haven't committed to a rebuild in a while, and this team's just not good enough to compete with the top end of the Eastern Conference. So Leonard Miller doesn't move the needle for me. Moving on to my Cleveland Cavaliers. We got Dorian Finney-Smith. I don't hate this. The only problem is we don't really have the assets for him. He would probably require a first-round pick and then like a George Niang and Dean Wade probably combo to make the salaries match up. So I don't hate that for either team. I think the Nets get a little younger and you can go and you're able to take on that George Niang contract, which isn't great. It's $9 million per, and Dean Wade is about $6 million, I believe. So, I mean, the salaries aren't terrible. You're going to get 3-and-D guys in Dean Wade and a 3-point shooter in George Niang. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't hate this move. I think he would be a nice bench piece to give us about 18 to 24 minutes a night. Come in, play some Ds, hit some threes, and
he should be starting in this league, in my opinion.
I agree. I totally agree. I just don't think the Cavs would move off Max Strus starting because he seems like a guy that would get really pissed about that. But that's if I think this trade only happens if we're not making a Darius Garland, Jared Allen trade and Donovan Mitchell doesn't resign.
We want no part of the back end of that trade. I don't want to get rid of Doe at all, so I'm not going to comment. I think the Cavs do need a wing if you're going to keep the team the way it's presently constructed. I think Max Strus is such a bum. I think Niang's such a bum. I obviously think Dean Wade's such a bum.
Dean Wade's
I liked when you were, like one time. I liked when you were targeting Rolls Royce. I thought he would have been a good fit. He's a little old, but like he's solid. I think what you need to really put you over the hump, which you can't really get the way you're currently constructed, is a McHale type player more than a Doe. Like
we just don't have the assets right now. We would have to trade DG for McHale and like Cam Johnson or some shit. That would be another possible one, but we'll do a full.
Well, I think you guys get infinitely better doing that tomorrow.
I agree, but I'm saying we'll do a full video on the Cavs. We post the most Cavs videos on this channel out of any other team in the NBA just because I'm a fan, and they're probably the most interesting team right now in the offseason to talk about because there's so many rumors going around with this team. So we'll definitely be bringing you more Cavs stuff in the full video in the near future. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate that trade. I would like it. I just don't know if the Nets would do it because if we can get George Niang and Dean Wade out of here for DFS, I would take it in a heartbeat. But moving on to the Dallas Mavericks, Matisse Thybulle. I don't hate this at all, actually. His contract's a little steep, so it's $11 million per. So I think PJ Washington's kind of like this. I don't want to say similar player because Matisse is more of a guard defender than PJ is more of a wing defender. But I think Matisse's defense is not anything to be trifled with. Like he's a really good defender. It's just the 3-point shooting. And
he's a solid defender.
He's a pretty damn good defender. But it's just another option and allows the Mavs to be multiple and just guards a little bit better. I know it's playoff time and Luka and Kyrie have really stepped it up, but they just haven't they don't have like a lockdown guard defender, which I think Matisse could add in spurts if someone gets injured on that back end of the rotation.
As good as Tim Hardaway was this year, I like him taking Tim Hardaway's minutes. There was multiple times that we were talking about him being a potential 6 man of the year.
Early, but then he started breaking. He shot like 40%.
40%?
Yeah, like 42.
It's not terrible. Look, I don't hate him eating away at Tim Hardaway's minutes.
No, I agree. I think like he can go and take some of those easily and just fill a different kind of role because you have enough scoring from the guard position between Luka and Kyrie, even when one of them's on the bench. So
it wasn't that late that we were talking about that. Maybe January, later, February.
Yeah, and then he got pulled out of the rotation pretty much. And Jaden Hardy or Josh Hardy, I always fuck up his name, started playing better. But for the Denver Nuggets, Nick Richards, I'm not going to touch too much on this. Just basically a DeAndre Jordan replacement. Point blank period, he'll get 8 to 10 minutes a night when Jokic is on the bench. I don't really care about this. I think Nick Richards is pretty good, 7-footer, and he's like 60% from the floor, so pretty solid. For the Detroit Pistons, another one I'm not going to touch on too much. Just we're talking about him, Tim Hardaway Jr. I think they just need other scoring options because they don't really have any. Like Jalen Duren's really good, but not at scoring. Like you're not throwing Jalen Duren post-up opportunities. Cade's pretty damn good at scoring, so you can give him the rock, but still not enough to move me. I think just getting another scorer, similar to what a Bogdan Bogdanovic did for the majority of the season for them, is what you need, and just more guard depth because one of those guards is going to get moved here. Like we just saw Killian Hayes get cut.
Killian Hayes is fucking ass.
Jaden Hardy's or Jaden Ivey is going to get moved here in the near future, I assume. So there's just a lot going on because you got Asar Thompson, and there's just a lot of guards in that need minutes, and they're not working out together. So someone's going to get moved, and it's going to be Ivy because Cade's the better one and Asar's the younger one. So you're stuck in the middle.
They're in like a weird dead end spot, kind of where like they have some good young talent, but they're so heinous and like there's really no upside. Do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah, the rest of
not even really a rebuild. Like they're just in like
really good pieces. Yeah, no, they're in a weird spot. They need to sign some veterans so they can be competitive and like let Cade and Jalen Duren take next steps and like command the team a little bit without them winning 5 games or losing 26 or whatever it was in a row. Moving on to the Golden State Warriors. This one's really interesting. Long term, I don't love it, is Lauri Markkanen. You're going to have to mortgage a lot of your young talent. So doing so kind of screws you over a little bit. And I think Lauri would be a perfect fit for them, no doubt in my mind. But you still have to, are you going to extend Clay? I doubt it, but maybe you are, maybe you're not. But let's say that your 5-man rotation would be Lowry, Clay, Draymond, Steph, and Kuminga, and Andrew Wiggins. That's 6. That's pretty damn good. Podziemski off the bench. Like you got a solid rotation there, and I think Lowry's an all-star, close to an all-star level player, not like consistent all-star, but like can have an all-star season. And I think he would be the second best player on that team tomorrow if that happened.
He would be great too because he's athletic, and they need a bit of a spark. Like they don't really have a big slashing jumper right now. So I think he would fill that void nicely for them.
Yeah. Moving on to the Houston Rockets, Malcolm Brogdon. I think on any team, I think he's good, to be honest. I think
doesn't move the needle for me.
I mean, I don't think it makes them a consistent playoff threat, but I think it makes them slightly better. I think he can go and come off the bench, give you about 20 minutes a night when you can split minutes between him and Fred VanVleet. They do similar things. While yes, Fred shoots more threes. Brogdon is just a better passer overall, and I would like to see that move. I don't hate it because he's kind of just wasting away in Portland, and for him, I would like to see him back on the championship stage because I thought he was really good in the Celtics playoff run last year.
Yeah, again, I know that they're not in a position to make a needle moving move, but that's just kind of a dud for me.
Fair enough. For the Indiana Pacers, Mikal Bridges. Definitely an interesting one. I think that would definitely move the needle and put them in the, I don't want to say top tier of the Eastern Conference, but I think it would put them
him and Siakam are a deadly duo.
Yeah, I think just adding like a supreme role player, like a Josh Hart, Derek White level role player is what I think of Mikal as. I don't think he's an all-star. I don't think he's that, but like he's pretty damn good and will be good on any team you put him on. I think that like allows the Pacers to still be really competitive for years to come. I think it'll put them in that tier with, albeit right now, with Philly not making any moves, in that tier with Philly, the Cavs, whoever. The Knicks, like I think they'll put them in that. I think Boston's in a tier by themselves, but like I think that next tier, if you add a Mikal Bridges, a guy who can give you 20 every given night or 18 and hit threes, play all-star level defense, like all defensive team, I think that would be huge for them.
They'd have to give up an arm and a leg for him, though.
True. But they have the assets. I know they traded a lot for Siakam, but still, you can go and mortgage your future a little bit. If you get 3 guys that you feel comfortable with for the next 4 or 5 years, like that's the moves you have to make in this league.
They're all on similar timelines, too.
Exactly. For the Clippers, Alex Caruso, I don't love it, to be honest, just point blank period. Yes, Caruso is really good, but you have a lot of guard depth already, and you're going to trade Terrence Mann or Russell Westbrook for Alex Caruso. I know Harden's a free agent, but still, or has a player option, but still.
He's staying. Inside source.
Yeah, I think he'll stay, but still, nothing crazy there.
That feels a good void for them. I mean, you gotta understand where, like, what the move is trying to do. He's not. They're making this move under the guise that the Clippers could win a chip tomorrow, and he just makes them better, which I don't agree with. But that's kind of where it seems like they're coming from.
It just doesn't move the needle enough for me. For the Lakers, Donovan Mitchell, I don't think that's going to happen. Everything I've seen from the Cavs or Cavs Twitter, Cavs guys, all say that Donovan Mitchell is going to stay. So I don't think that's going to happen. Lakers fans, I'm sorry, but maybe it does.
For Bron?
I don't like that, but I would love LeBron back on the squad. Just opt out of your contract and sign with us for the minimum. That'd be elite. But
yeah, he doesn't need the bread.
He definitely doesn't, but he wants it. But no, I mean, obviously Donovan Mitchell on the Lakers would be elite. Also, I saw rumors AD getting traded for Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Let's shut that down, Lakers fans. Let's do that.
That's retarded.
So let's shut that down. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't like that for the Cavs, so I don't think they wouldn't do that anyway. Moving on to the Memphis Grizzlies, DeAndre Hunter. This is a trade I can get behind. A guy that you don't really need to do a ton. You have bench scoring next season with Gigi Jackson, who's still young and going to develop. You also have Desmond Bane going to be healthy after missing a ton of games. You have John Morant, who missed basically the entire season. Jaren, who's only getting better offensively now that he had to take an increased role this season at his post-ups and all that kind of stuff. You got Santi Aldama, who is a promising enough young player to give you minutes. So this team is going to be really good, and just adding a wing defender, 3-and-D guy that's pretty damn solid on a contract that's going to expire where you can still, at this point, take the money, I would do it.
Yeah. The Grizzlies are such a weird team to me because everybody was so high on them preseason and I was so low on them. I don't know if it was anything they were particularly missing. I don't see the job vision, and I don't see the vision over there in general. I think Jaren Jackson's a phenomenal player. But, Bleacher Report, do your thing, whatever you want to do.
Fair enough. This one we're not going to touch on much, pretty self-explanatory. Miami Heat, Cam Johnson. This is a trade they won't make because they're just so stubborn in how they make trades. But he would, but they just need 3-point shooting, and his contract's too much money. Point blank period, 20 mil
contract is fucking massive.
It's 20 mil per year, I believe. It's just too much for Miami.
Dude, I'm not going to do this right now. He's fucking trash, though.
For the Bucks, Toumani Camara, not even going to talk about that one. Minnesota Timberwolves, Garrison Matthews. I actually know who this is. A lot of you probably don't. Just basically a 3-point shooter from the Atlanta Hawks, younger guy, and just basically all he does is shoot threes. I think going forward, he'd be an interesting option, and they just need more consistent 3-point shooting. I don't think he would be a 20-minute-a-night guy, but he's a spark plug. If your offense is not going well, you could throw him in and hope he hits 2-3 threes and every given night if your offense is blowing the little cock. So
he could be like your boy Sam.
Yeah, exactly. New Orleans Pelicans, Onyeka Okongwu, there's no way the Hawks move off of him, so I don't really want to touch on this, but he's really good, and I think he would be great, but just not.
They have a lot of forwards.
Yeah, like they don't need a big. They don't. So I think Larry Nance has done a fine enough job. For the Knicks, Paul George on basically a sign and trade. I think the Knicks want that star, but for their
I'm so out on that.
But for them, I think the best idea is to re-sign OG. That this would require OG to either be traded there or re-signed somewhere else because he is a UFA. So I mean, Paul George in the Garden would be pretty electric, but still, I don't think it makes the Knicks drastically better than long term than what OG can provide.
I couldn't be more out on that. That would be the stupidest thing they could possibly do. You, like we said in the Knicks video, don't touch that team. Let the team play healthy for a year, then assess.
Fair enough. For the OKC Thunder, Denny Avdija. I think he's interesting. For the Thunder, for me, I understand you want to let the young players develop. I know they're the youngest one seed like ever, and they're still really young, and they got to get that playoff experience, which I don't disagree with. The only problem is if you want to go and compete with the Denvers of the world, or I guess the Minnesotas or the Lakers or the whoever, you're going to need to go and get another consistent option. And yes, Jalen Williams will become that, or Chet will become that, and I don't doubt it. But if you want to win now, you got to make a splash move. You have the picks to do it. You're going to make a move at some point. I think you want a younger guy that's not going to take over this crazy role. Like, I think a Lowry Markin would be butter for them. They'd be so good. But Denny Avdija is just a low-key move, still a young guy, which I don't hate, but I don't think it moves the needle.
Lowry Markin, that might put them into like not enough balls, not enough balls, but like obviously he'd be dynamite. He's on
I
that
think he would
timeline
probably
as well,
average
but
he would average like 16 to 18. He'd play a similar kind of role that he did on the Cavs for the one season. This one I really, really like. Orlando Magic trading for Anthony Simons. That's something I could really get behind. I know they have a ton of guards there, but to be honest, they're not great offensively, any of them. Like Markel
Gary
outside of 4 feet. And Cole Anthony is okay. And Jalen Suggs is really good on defense. Offense is still coming along a little bit. 3-point shooting definitely increased and was in the playoffs, was only good at home. So those are things that will develop with time and as they consistently make the playoffs, which I believe they will. And because I think Paolo and Franz are going to be really, really good for years to come. But this is just a move that you can get a guy that's, is going to be pretty damn consistent offense, can get guys involved, and can also just score on his own if you need it. Because it just seemed like versus the Cavs, it was strictly just Paolo trying to isolate. And if that didn't work, they were kind of screwed because their offense was really bad.
Cole Anthony, by the way, is the Derrick Rose of
Orlando.
Jeff Teagues. Not even that. Jeff Teagues too good for that comp. I got to figure someone else out. But.
We'll end that one right there. Not going to touch on this one much. The Phoenix Suns, Javon Carter. I mean, like, it's just Phoenix is kind of fucked, to be honest.
He was Nets dumpster trash in 2021, and now you're saying he's going to be the needle mover for another team. That's like saying pick up Mike James while you're at it.
For the Philadelphia 76ers, Bogdan Bogdanovic, I think this is as if they can't sign Paul George, but still, I think he would be really good on them. I think he would play a similar role to what we saw Kelly Oubre play, just more 3-point shooting, less driving. I think that move would be great. I think he'd fit really well.
We're all in on the Paul George here at TOC.
Yeah.
All in on Sixers Paul George.
Yeah. Portland Trailblazers, Jet Howard. I feel like the Magic would be willing to move off of him. It was his rookie year last year, barely played. And now you're just going to get more 3-point shooting on Portland. And I think that's what they really need because they just can't honestly just do much well. So
assuming they move off Anthony Simons as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Sacramento Kings, Jeremy Grant. This is also a needle mover for me.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
That would fit really, really well. Harrison Barnes is getting older. He's your perfect replacement. He basically does everything Harrison Barnes does, just 3 times better.
That's one of my favorite ones we've done so far.
Only problem is his contract is ridiculous.
How much do you make?
I want to look this up because I know it's ridiculous.
Like, follow, comment, subscribe.
5 years, 160 million signed left off.
Yeah, that's an absolute robbery.
I mean, like, holy Lord. But I still think if you just took the player, that's a good trade. For the San Antonio Spurs, Darius Garland also, I think, would be one of the better fits with Wemby you could possibly have in the league. Him and Trae Young, I think, would both be great. I think Darius honestly fits a little bit better because Darius isn't a guy that wants to average 30. He just isn't, while Trae Young is. And while, yes, both of them throw the lob really, really well, Darius wants to be pass first. And if you can go and feed it to a guy like Wemby, who I think is already a top 25 player after his rookie season, it's just going to be masterful. The only problem is they don't want to trade Devin Vassell, and I don't see a world where the Cavs are trading DG for picks and not players because they want to compete. So I don't know how that would happen, but if you send Devin Vassell, by all means, I think it definitely could happen, and that's all saying if the Cavs want to kind of blow it up a little bit.
That immediately puts them into play-in.
Yeah, immediately. Toronto Raptors, Moses Moody, just another role player that they can go and just basically figure out, because I feel like their team's built a lot of role players and then Scotty Barnes. So you just got to see who fits well next to him, but a bigger guy, 3-and-D, that's basically all you can ask for.
Kind of fill the OG void a little bit.
This would never happen. I don't even know how this is a real thing, but Utah Jazz, Jaden McDaniels. I don't even want to talk about that because there's
so stupid. That doesn't even make sense.
No way that happens. And then lastly, the Washington Wizards, Jaden Hardy, I think would be a really good move. I think like it's interesting. You get more scoring and allows him to develop a little bit more because he's gotten some years behind Luka and Kyrie. Get his, I don't want to say own team, but would be on the lower end. Could share a backcourt with Jordan Poole. Be interesting. I don't hate
Wizards
it.
are just the Wizards are just a straight graveyard.
Facts. Except every time they get traded away, they win a championship. So we'll see.
8 years in a row.
Let me know if your favorite team, what trade they should make, what's a guy you guys want to target. But that's it for this one. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.